OKC by 3. Gordon the heave. No. And on a night that he ties Wilt Chamberlain, SGA's greatest hit tour continues.
Doing what you're supposed to do when you don't want to do it. As simple as that. Like, it's easy to work hard when things are going your way. It's easy to get in the gym when the ball's going in the net. Like, it's easy to face the challenges when you win the challenges, and it's when you lose the challenges and you have to keep getting up and doing the same thing. And sometimes you continue to lose. But fighting through that and getting on the other side of it is what makes consistency. And I've kind of built that muscle over my career.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
What a line. I've built that muscle over the years. Wow. Wow. Good afternoon. I'm Alan Cutler. Honored and pleased to be with you. Thank you so much for joining us on 1300 AM and 92.5 FM or anywhere in the world on the ESPN Lexington app, and podcast will be up by 2:30 as we have more and more folks all over the place listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We will play the Pope press conference. We will play the Stein press conference. We will be visited with Jonathan Davis and Dr. John Wong. We got a lot going on as Kentucky plays LSU tomorrow. First, something that just popped up. And on this day, thank you, Cats Classic, 1984, Kenny Skywalker gets the role at Memorial Gym in Nashville to beat Auburn 51-49. And Charles Barkley cries like a baby as number 3 Kentucky wins the 1984 SEC tournament. And normally I would say I was there, but I was not. I was in Pittsburgh working at KDKA TV and radio. That's a memorable moment. And I hope the next time Shaq and Kenny and Johnson, that they're together, that they remind him of crying like a baby when Kenny Walker beat Auburn. Okay, let's get into the sound bites and the clips that we just had. First of all, Wan'Dale Robinson. Remember, he had over 100 catches the one year he played for Kentucky? And Brian Dable, his coach of the Giants, is now the offensive coordinator with the Titans. Do I think that had something to do with him going there? Yeah. Plus, guess what? What a short ride, right? You like him? Family? Friends? Do I think a lot of Kentucky fans have Titan tickets anyway. Do I think a lot of Kentucky fans will go watch him play? Absolutely. So he gets a 4-year, $78 million deal, $38 million guaranteed. And if you've been with the show since the beginning, one of the things I complained about with the Giants about Robinson, he was their possession receiver. There were times he made catches where he'd literally, as short as he is, and I'm saying this with respect, go down to a knee just to kind of hide to get that first down. He's great hands, and they used him that way. And I kept on complaining, hey, Giants, are you nuts? I don't care that he's short. If you see him in a T-shirt, he is built like a brick, you know what. He can fake people. He's great at faking people. He can go deep, and for a long time, they wouldn't even attempt to have him stretch the field. Well, this is pretty obvious. You don't sign a 4-year, $78 million contract to be a possession receiver. So money often dictates your role, and obviously they want him in a different role than he played for over his entire Giants career. Now, he got deeper passes, towards the end. But the first couple of years, then he had his ripped knee and the injury and that kind of stuff. The first couple of years, it was driving me crazy because I know he can do more. I don't give a rat's if you're 6 feet or 6'1" or 6'2" a corner. He can fake you out. And by the way, remember, he's got great hands. So I'm really happy for him. Kid worked his fanny off. Really, really, really happy for him. To SGA. He's the best basketball player in the world. In the world. So last night was a milestone evening for SGA. Not because he had a three-pointer with a tie game to win it at the end. No, that was great, but no, that's not it. He had 0 turnovers, 0, 15 assists, 9 rebounds, 9, 35 points. He is the 4th fastest guard to 13,000 points. But that's not the big deal. It's just not the big deal. He tied Wilt Chamberlain for the most consecutive games of at least 20 points at 126. That's incredible. And by the way, Wilt did that when I was a kid. And anytime he was on TV, I watched. That was between 61 and 63. And the game I'm about to talk about wasn't on TV. The day Wilt, I think it was in Hershey, Pennsylvania. The NBA at times would play in some weird places to get a crowd to do something different, that kind of thing. He scored 100 points. So Wilt did this in his prime, 126 games of at least 20 points. And SGA, the best player in the world, tied that. And what he said in that soundbite personifies his discipline. It's easy to work when things are going well. You got to make sure you work when things aren't going well. It's easy to work when you're hitting a bunch of shots. You got to keep on working when you don't hit the shots. So he's got that discipline. And Jimmy, I got to tell you, every young athlete should listen to that soundbite. I'll go one step further. That soundbite should be played for every sports team at the University of Kentucky. I would suggest Brian Lane, who had a great year at Transit, just throwing that name out, plays that soundbite. I would suggest Northern Kentucky. They lost in the semifinals trying to make the NCAA tournament. Now, obviously, they can't. I would suggest that Horn play that comment. And I'm glad they won 20 games again. Great guy, really good coach. Done a really nice job up there. Point is this. The discipline that he has is absolutely unequivocally off the charts. I want to say a quick congratulations to Kylan Mills. I think she left before you and I got together. Kylan Mills was doing news at LAX 18. And it's a long story that I'm not going to get into, but she tried to get an extension to her contract. That was the days where, oftentimes they would allow you to get, let's say, a 3-month or 6 months extension when your contract is up and you're looking for a job and you can't find a job oftentimes because the station needs to fill the position and they like you, they will extend it. Well, the company started not doing that so much. I'm not ripping the company. I'm not ripping anything. It was disappointing. It was okay. And she had offers to go into news. Actually, one of the offers is a pretty good offer, but she wanted to go in sports. And so she gambled on herself. She played a couple sports in college, all that kind of thing. She can really talk sports. She really knows sports. She's got, obviously, the right look. Well, she's moved around and moved around and moved around. Jimmy, you're going to see her a lot on TV. She's now the pregame and postgame show host for the Giants.
Really?
Yeah. Now, she worked in San Francisco TV before and then the Big Ten Network. And when she went to the Big Ten Network, I quickly text our friend Mike DeCourcy and said, Mike, let me tell you something. She's joining you, and she's great. And anything you can do to help her out, whatever. And he said, gotcha. There's, trust with people. I wouldn't tell Mike, and he knows that this young person is great if I didn't mean it. We go back to the 1980s, and I get a text to me a couple weeks later, and he went, she's as good as you said, both as a person and as a talent. So it's a huge break for her. Just a huge, and she does play-by-play. It won't surprise me, Jimmy, if she ends up doing Major League Baseball. It wouldn't surprise me if she ends up doing NBA. She's an amazing, talented young lady and smart, really smart. So mazel tov. I asked her if she'd do the show on Monday. I don't know if she will or won't. It does make a difference. But mazel tov, congratulations. A little more mazel tov. There's a number of people going into the Kentucky Journalism Hall of Fame. That includes Nancy Cox, longtime anchor at LAX 18. Nancy, mazel tov, and John Clay. John Clay is going in as well. And there's some of the other people going in. I don't know. They were behind the scenes, whatever, but I wanted to mention those two people because I think it's very, very important. Jimmy, as we're hodgepodging, because I'm enjoying hodgepodging. I need to do hodgepodging some more. I wonder how many Kentucky fans who go to Nashville every year, who want to see the SEC tournament. When you add days to your hotel in Nashville, as everyone knows, it's crazy expensive. Without the SEC tournament, Nashville, to me, is one of the most expensive towns there is for a town its size. I've never understood it. It's unbelievable how expensive it is. So now that, and to me, this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And I'm absolutely unequivocally, and I said this before, I'm reserving judgment on the season till the season is over. Because if I make a blanket statement as they are now, it's not going to be really positive. Okay, but I'm open-minded to the fact that they could do something good. I really am open-minded. You win 2 games, lose to Florida, and maybe make a nice run in the NCAA tournament, which is possible, make the Sweet 16. Will I have a different opinion? Yes. You lose tomorrow, you lose the first game in the NCAA tournament. Is my opinion going to change? Yes. Is your opinion going to change? Yes. And look, everybody knows so many people save up to go to the SEC tournament. The food in Nashville is great. It's a beautiful city to hang out, watch games, all that kind of stuff. But with them playing on Wednesday, Jimmy, I would assume that most people already had their hotels. Okay. And if somebody was coming in Wednesday night, could you drive up if you're from here and watch the game on Wednesday? Sure. But there'll be some people that were coming in on Thursday, like driving up Thursday and then, having a hotel Thursday, Friday, Saturday, hopefully Sunday. Point is this. I wonder, because of the season, 2 things. One, are fewer people than normal that are Kentucky fans going to Nashville because this has not been a good season. It's been a bad season so far. It could end up being a really good season. I'm open-minded to positivity. So, one, I wonder if there'll be fewer people, which could cost the city of Nashville $1 gazillion. I mean, Kentucky fans have enriched the coffers of Nashville. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds that keep on going of millions of dollars through the years. Everybody knows that. So, one, I wonder if the crowd won't be as big as it normally would be with Kentucky fans tomorrow at 12. And 2, forgetting about playing on Wednesday, Jimmy, I wonder if some Kentucky fans who said, I'm going to save my money and not go this year because the team can't win or won't win the SEC tournament. And I think we'll find out tomorrow when we see the crowd. One more. It's possible there are a bunch of folks who weren't going to go to the tournament who now say, we can probably get tickets on Wednesday. Let's go Wednesday and drive up and back and take the day off. All these variables. But I'm really curious to see what the stands look like tomorrow, if there are stands out of frustration, because, the way it looks now, this team's going to have 14 losses, right? They're going to have 14 losses when it's all said and done. It's blasphemy. This is Kentucky. It is blasphemy. So you think it might be a lighter crowd overall in Nashville? Because I do.
Yeah, I do think the point you just made about with them playing at noon on Wednesday, there could be people that just make a day trip out of it because Nashville, it's a 3-hour drive. So you could leave early in the morning, take the day off, and still get home at a decent time if you just want to do that. But I think just the casual fan who doesn't have a ton of money, I don't think they're going to be going down this year. Just because, one, now you got to get there a whole day early, or if you already had your trip planned or whatever. I do think it'll be a little bit, I don't think it'll be significant, like a huge drop-off, like you won't see very much blue at all. But I do think there is a chunk of fans that won't make the trip just because of how the season's gone.
And maybe because of the economy and gas prices going up, some people that might have, taken a day trip might not do it. I'm not going to go through all the brackets that I've seen, whatever. Just going to throw out one because I think it's, it's ballpark legitimate. Will it happen? I have no idea. Neither does anybody. But ESPN has Kentucky as a 7 seed playing Iowa, who's a 10 seed. And so here's a question you're going to have. Can Kentucky beat Iowa? Yes. Can they lose to Iowa? Yes. Now, you can almost say that about every team. And I know, you weren't going to expect that they would lose to Oakland or Seton Hall and stuff like that. But there's a difference here. Iowa's a pretty good basketball team. Okay? And so the point is, in all probability, whoever Kentucky plays in the first round, you could see them losing, but you could see them winning. I don't see any clear path to really great stuff. Just throwing it out there. More Kentucky stuff in a second. I'm not sure what to make of it, but I don't think it's a concern. John Hale retweeted this, and Steve Sarkisian said of Mark Stoops, here's the quote. He hasn't been added yet, end of quote. So I read that to believe that Stoops is going to Texas. They just haven't done the paperwork. Because Sarkisian could have said, no, Mark's not going to be on the staff. Didn't say that. And paperwork at times gets pushed through in different levels. So the sense of urgency with spring football, I don't know when Texas's spring football starts, but you would think he would be there for spring football. You would think. Don't know that you would think. Want to say a mazel tov to Herb Sendek. Last night, the former UK assistant, dear friend, got his 600th win. And this might be the best team he's had at Santa Clara. They upset St. Mary's, a great team, year in and year out. St. Mary's is 27-5. Santa Clara is 26-7. Santa Clara was the 3 seed. St. Mary's is the 2 seed. They beat him 76-71. So tonight, and I sent Herb a text. I said, congratulations on being coach in your league, which he is. And I'm probably not going to be able to stay up to watch your game, but I'll look at the highlights this morning and look at the highlights. And I did look at the highlights this morning. So they play Gonzaga, 600 wins in 32 years. I think he's one of the best coaches in the country. And I've thought that forever. Forever, 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 ever. I'm going to say this, and there's no meanness here. And, Jimmy, I want to see if your eyes pop up. So I have said many times that Herb Sendek runs one of the best offenses in college basketball for the last 32 years. I've said that. I mean it. It's really wonderful watching his team play offense. St. Mary's has been a wonderful offensive team since Randy Bennett's been there. I don't know how long he's been there, for decades and decades and decades. He turned on all kinds of jobs. Jimmy, if I remember right, he lives on a boat that's docked. And by the way, Jimmy, it's not a dinghy. It's a boat. And he loves it there, and they love him there. You know, sometimes it's okay not to move. I'm going to say this. There's no meanness where I'm coming from. I believe this from the bottom of my heart. Jimmy, St. Mary's offense, the way they do it and the spacing is better than Kentucky's. Hang on. Santa Clara's offense is absolutely, unequivocally much better than Kentucky's, how they do it. Not even close. Now, could Kentucky beat Santa Clara? Yep. Could they lose to him? Yep. Could they beat St. Mary's? Yeah. Could they lose to him? Yeah. And so they're playing Gonzaga tonight. And I would say that Santa Clara will be the obvious. It wouldn't surprise me if it's a pretty significant underdog. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't know if you see the point spread, Jimmy, to let me know. It's not going to be double digits. The point is this. I would say whether or not Santa Clara wins or not, I would call Santa Clara and St. Mary's a 1A to Gonzaga. Gonzaga's the king. They've been the king forever. Everybody knows that. There's no question about it. Really, Jimmy? 7.5 points. Okay. So if you think about that, if Santa Clara and Kentucky played, could Kentucky win? Absolutely. Could they lose? Absolutely. Same thing with St. Mary's. The point is, there were years, just forget about before Cal fell apart. There were years when Kentucky was good and they'd be playing some games. You had this cocky thought, there's no way Kentucky can lose. They can't lose. They can't lose. They're not going to lose. But in my opinion, Santa Clara can beat Kentucky. St. Mary's can beat Kentucky, but Kentucky can beat both of them. Jimmy, I don't know if you ever watched Santa Clara, how they spread their offense. They're really good. They're really good. You know, he ran a great offense at NC State. He ran a great offense at Arizona State, excuse me. And he ran a great offense. Was it Dayton? I lost my mind? No, Miami of Ohio. Sorry about that. Had Dayton in my head. So just congratulations for that. LSU. Tidbit. By the way, we mentioned this yesterday. I'm not on from 12 to 2 tomorrow. It'd be dumber than a box of rocks for me to be doing a show from 12 to 2, right? Look, I don't want to do a show. You ain't going to listen to me. You shouldn't listen to me. You should watch the game. And so what Sean has put together, Brad Taylor will do his thing at 2 o'clock, and I'll come on at 3 o'clock. And that will also be true on Thursday if Kentucky wins. And on Friday, if they get to Friday, because the tip-off moves to 1 o'clock, I won't come on till after the game. And then I'll be off 4:30, 4:45, something like that on Friday. But the other 2 days, it would be 4:30 if Kentucky wins. And after I'm done, guess who's being moved also a little bit? What will be on at 4 o'clock today and after me tomorrow?
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
Having fun doing it?
It's a ton of fun. It's the same show, but it is, now that we've done it for a couple weeks, I'm adjusted back to the doing it at 4 o'clock instead of, 10 a.m. is way different when you're just planning everything is weird, but it's fun.
Yeah, it takes a while to change your rhythm.
Yeah.
You're not 15 years old anymore, Jimmy.
I know.
You know what? When your beautiful daughter is born, within 6 months, I guarantee that we'll see more speckles of, not like mine, let's not be stupid here, more speckles of gray coming in.
Oh, yeah. I've got them on. I haven't gotten any in the beard yet, which is nice because if I've got them on the sides of my head quite a bit. But with a hat's good at covering that.
By the way, one of the odds makers has Kentucky as the 7th favorite to win the tournament. Not really good. Not really good. I like this jumping around. Whatever's coming to my head. Cam Williams practiced, so said Pope. We're going to play Pope's press conference in just a minute. He's close to practicing, and I think this is important. Pope says it's normal what he's going through, that when you've had that broken bone in your foot, like he's in a boot today, and he said it's normal to have soreness and pain. It's part of the process of getting back. And the way he put it, it is possible that Cam Williams could play tomorrow against LSU. I would guess the obvious, that let's say you got 3 minutes out of Cam, okay, and he's going to be discombobulated, right? It's going to be discombobulated. But if you can get 3 minutes from him twice or maybe 3 times, probably twice, that could really give a little bit of a blow to what? It could give a blow to some of the starters and help out. And so if he gets to play tomorrow, I expect nothing. Because then if he gives you something, God bless, more power to him. And the thing is, suppose they play a couple games and this subject wasn't brought up, and I would assume they have no idea if he could actually play 2 games in 2 days. Don't know that. But if he could, now you can do a little practice, the NCAA next week. Maybe it's possible you can get a little bit more out of him. I think it's a feel thing. I think they have no idea. I think you just got to play with it. I'm a little ticked off. Owe was second team All-SEC. And I promise you, and I don't know why I say this, I'm not being a shill because I live in Lexington, Kentucky, and I want Kentucky to win. I don't know how he wasn't first team. So Darius Acuff is the player of the year and the freshman of the year. He absolutely deserves it. To me, that's an absolute no-brainer. Okay, Tyler Tanner, Vandy, okay, I'm good with that. Philon of Alabama, I'm good with that. Thomas Howe, Florida, absolutely good with that. And Jimmy, I don't know about you, but I got a little problem with Jacoby Gillespie. Okay, so Owe was better than him in their matchups, okay? I think he got stiffed. Do I think it's an outrageous stiff? No. Now, I believe if Kentucky wasn't 10-8, let's say Kentucky was 13-5, and this sucks, but I can't be the only person thinking this. Jimmy, I believe if Kentucky was 13-5 on the season, and maybe if they didn't finish first, let's say finish second undisputed, do I think Owe would have been first team All-SEC? I do. So 1, what say you? And 2, here's the other thing. It's BS. It's just BS. In other words, and this is not just a comment about Owe. If you're one of the first 5 players, you should be one of the first 5 players. It's not like Tennessee won the SEC. It's not like Tennessee's one of the top 10 teams. And there's some people in Knoxville think they underachieve. I'm not ripping Tennessee. The point is, did they have a special season? Is there something I missed? Did I miss something? I kind of think they underachieved. Okay, I think Kentucky underachieved. So this is not like, I hate Tennessee or anything like that. That's nonsense. I don't go there. I don't do that kind of thing. It's just not me. But I think he got stiffed. Do you think he got stiffed?
Yeah, and I'm looking at the numbers. So Owe averaged 18, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists while shooting 47% from the field. Gillespie averaged 18, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, and shot 40% from the field. So
I got one more. Let me, because I want you to respond to this. But in SEC play, Owe averaged 21.
and he has the streak, or he had, all the streaks of 10-plus games or 20-point games. I do think what you said about just Kentucky having more of a down year, even though Tennessee, like you said, they didn't do anything special this year, but that had to be what it is, because just looking at the numbers, Oweh, especially at SEC play, has the better numbers. So I don't get it.
One more. And since you haven't been around here as long as I have, I'm really curious to, I'm not saying my opinion is biased. I'm going to say it's based on history. But Jimmy, you'd be a good person to ask because you probably have never felt, hatred is just too strong. You never felt the I can't stand Kentucky outlook from other SEC teams who played them in basketball. When I got here, it was like, whoa! And anything to knock Kentucky down in basketball was a beautiful thing. Am I suggesting there's still a little bit of that? Yeah, I am, by the way. Yeah, I am. And I think Oweh got stiffed. He got stiffed. Last one. Mazel tov. Congratulations to Malachi Moreno. He makes the SEC all-freshman team. Hats off to Corey Price. He looked it up, which he always does. This is crazy. Rex Chapman, Rondo, Reed, and Marino are the only four since '86 to make the all-SEC freshman team? What? Where the hell's John Wall? And I didn't look it up because Corey Price doesn't make a mistake. Where the hell's DeMarcus Cousins? What? That's just unbelievable. It's just absolutely. Corey Price doesn't make a mistake. And I didn't look it up because Corey looked it up. And Corey's great at what he's a maven. He's a marvel with this stuff. John Wall? What? What? Unbelievable. I tell you what else is unbelievable. Quantrill with the Volvos. Quantrill with the Subarus. Quantrill with the Cadillacs. I've said many times that the XC60, the hybrid, which we're saving money on gas, is the best car Judy and I have had in 43 years. What's also really good is how they treat you as people. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine. They run the place. And I really like how they talk to you. And I don't think I'm getting talked to differently because I'm Alan Cutler, because I know there's some people say, oh, you're on TV, you get treated better. Well, I'm not on TV anymore, but I'm doing this. It's done radio basically half my career anyway. Neither here nor there. The point is, they're a people organization who just happens to sell cars. And that's the nicest thing I can say about them because I believe it. They're not asking me to say, I believe it. I believe it. We've had 3 cars from them, 2 Cadillacs and the Volvo. And one of the reasons that I went back way before doing the show is because of how we were treated the first time, a long time ago, over a decade ago. And I have a habit of going back to the same people who treat me well. It's a pretty simple deal. I had the same plumber forever. You know what happened to my plumber, Jimmy? We had him forever and forever. You know what happened to my plumber? He retired. He was a great guy. We talked Kentucky sports. He's a great guy. Fixed everything great. The point is, when I find somebody who's good, I stay with them because you're lucky to find somebody good. I've had some people say, hey, let me try to cut your hair. I said, no, Michael does it, and he's great, and we're dear friends, and I think he's great at what he does. I'm not giving him a shill. I'm not saying his name. I'm not saying his number. The point is, as long as Michael cuts hair, I'm there. And we're good buddies. That's not the point. The point is, Quantrill, it's a wonderful organization. Check them out. Check them out. Check them out. And I believe they will take care of you. When we come back, we're going to play Mark Pope's press conference. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrill Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313.
March is here, and Clark's Beverage Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig Lunch Meat 5 for $5 and Jolly Rancher, Shackalicious, or Twizzler peg bags, 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrill Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrill Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth. And we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrillVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Jonathan Davis at 1, Dr. John Wong at 1:30. Mark Pope is not looking to hire a general manager. He's looking to hire what he calls an associate director of player development, and he wants to do it soon. So he does want to hire somebody. That's part of this. The other thing, this is me. Every style is different. Jimmy, if you're going to go play in an arena you don't play with every day, you want to shoot shots up at them. In Bridgestone Arena, so they could have had practice there. Pope said no because he likes to do this. It's his style. I don't have to agree with his style. I'm not downgrading Mark Pope. I have a different philosophy. I'm allowed to, even though I don't coach. Rims are important. The Richie Farmers of the world explained how important rims were. I knew before that anyway. So all these teams are working out of Bridgestone. Kentucky had obviously the opportunity to work out of Bridgestone, but Pope says, no. What I like to do, and I respect this, what I like to do is set practice time to be equal to the game time. So when they practice today, they're going to practice at the same time that the game will be tomorrow. Okay, I respect that. I really respect it. And by the way, I don't know what time it would have been at Bridgestone, so I can't say that. So I don't know if it was going to be midnight. It wasn't going to be midnight. You know what I'm saying. But the point is this, you got to practice on the rim. You guys got to be comfortable with the rims. And I got to tell you, I promise you, if they lose to LSU tomorrow, and I think they're going to win, if they lose to LSU tomorrow and shoot, let's say, 8 for 32 from threes. I don't think they'll take 32 threes if they're making only 8. That's not the point. If they shoot 25%, I guarantee you, there'll be people like me saying, why the hell didn't you work on the rims? Why didn't you shoot that extra time on the rims? I'm just telling you. Now, Mark might not think that, and that's okay. He's got to do what he thinks is best for his team. That's his philosophy. I respect that. I don't like it. He can win a national championship, but I'm still not going to like it. And that's okay. That doesn't make me wrong. It doesn't make him wrong. He's the coach. It's his philosophy. The other thing to look into when you listen to this is how he describes his associate director of player development. The job is open. It is out there. And this is what I've been saying. He wants to hire, well, I thought it was a GM. He wants to hire a GM. And so when people say he needs to hire it, what I've been saying, he wants to, but just hasn't found the right person. And he said we have all these great candidates, okay, to choose from. But everything is so positive. Do I think every one of the candidates is great? No, I don't. It's just Mark. It's Mark being Mark. That's just all it is. The other thing, how many times have I talked about that Chandler now must make an adjustment because he's so high up on the scouting team? He talked about that Chandler has to do a better job. He needs to adjust. It's like a hitter in baseball has a great first month, and all of a sudden the scouts who scout your team for the opposition say, hey, he can't hit this fastball or the low outside pitch. Chandler has to adjust. This is normal. Let's see if he can. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this was Mark Pope earlier this morning.
Kentucky fans aren't used to being the opening act. Last time you played LSU, they jumped out on you early. How have you been able to kind of leverage that to speak to the importance of getting off to a good start?
Well, it's been a goal of ours the entire season, with some success and some not so much success. But I think our guys understand that what a priority, especially in tournament play, that we from the opening tip that we have the highest level of intensity, especially on the defensive end. So I think that'll be important in the game tomorrow.
Knowing you're going to play that early game for as long as you play this week, do you change up the routine at all? I mean, obviously you guys have played noon games in the past, but do you change up the schedule?
Yeah, so we've recreated the schedule. It's just what we always do, trying to recreate the schedule. So we had film at the same time. We'll have film tomorrow morning. We'll start practice at exactly the same time we tip off tomorrow. Did pregame just to kind of keep that whole routine the same, just to do the most we can to get the guys' clocks adjusted.
Coach, speaking of schedule, you guys are the only Wednesday team at the SEC tournament not taking advantage of that open practice time at Bridgestone Arena. What was the reason behind that?
We just wanted to reproduce the schedule of the day the best we could. And so we couldn't do that with our slotted time there. And so it also recreates our normal travel schedule. So we're just trying to have our day before the game be as close in proximity to what we'll face tomorrow as we can.
With the postseason starting, you obviously have a national champion, a guy who's been to a Final Four, the guys who came back from last season's team, obviously went to the second week of the tournament. What can you get from all that postseason winning experience?
Well, guys have just experienced it. I mean, experience is good if you win, and it's not if you lose. So it's we do have some veteran guys that. It's not going to be a brand new experience to walk into a neutral site and play in sudden death tournaments, like one and done tournaments. So it's good to have that. But at the end of the day, it just matters how you play.
Just going off that, is there anything that you learned from going through the SEC tournament process last year? I know it's new matchups, new teams and stuff, but just through like the machinations of that, anything that you took away that maybe you're looking to apply to this year's event?
Just it's postseason play, so it's a beautiful thing that if you earn your right to play 24 hours later, you get to do it, and then if you earn the right again, you get to do it, and so this is just the beauty of the immediate feedback every single day.
Mark, when you mentioned fatigue this late in the year, it's easy for people to push back on that. March, this is when great players play a lot of minutes, they push through it. With all the workload data that you've accumulated over the years, how are you planning to maybe tweak that to make sure that your best guys are?
Well, we'll do the best we can. It's not, we talked about this yesterday. If fatigue wasn't a factor, then everyone would play 5 players for 200 minutes, right? You'd play everybody 40 minutes. It just doesn't work that way. And so everybody has a different tolerance for minutes. As you study guys, you see where their production starts to go down. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to do the very best we can, and it's affected by all kind of things, fouls and rotations and matchups and everything else. But we'd like to do the very best that we can to spread the minutes out the most we possibly can and be as competitive as we can. It's the same thing as when you go into every single game.
Mark, the fact that you played at Bridgestone this year, I mean, obviously you didn't get the result you wanted last time, but does that help that you guys at least already know, like, the venue? And you hear a lot about guys like getting the sideline.
Yeah.
Somewhere that place, you guys at least done that.
I don't know how much it helps. I think it maybe it helps a little bit, but right now, we've played at a lot of venues for the first time this year, and we've won venues we played the first time, and we've lost at venues we've played the second time. And so I don't know that there's a huge correlation. I think it comes down to right now is our commitment to each other, our competitiveness, our fight, and how well we play. It's a beautiful thing about the postseason is there's no judges out there. You just have a winner and a loser, and it's very clear, and it says it on the scoreboard. And so we don't need to overcomplicate it. We just need to go play great.
You had mentioned last night about Cam getting close and getting some more limited reps for practice. I guess, what does that still look like for him, and what kind of actionable benchmarks needs to be achieved for him in practice before you feel comfortable putting him back in the rotation and potentially playing him in a game?
It's not so much in practice as the day after. So he practiced a little bit yesterday. He was in a boot this morning. So it just is a matter of how he can get through it. Of course, we would love to have some playing time, in-game playing time for him to get back a rhythm and do those things. Though, if we get a chance to play him, it'll just be a little bit of a mystery to him and to us in terms of how quickly he's going to shake off the rust. But mostly it's just how his foot responds, which is that's exactly what you'd expect with this type of surgery and this type of recovery, is that you're going to get some time on the court and then you're going to have some response where there's real soreness and pain. And so he's exactly where he's supposed to be in terms of recovery.
Is there any chance he could play tomorrow?
Yeah, there is. I don't know. I mean, we'll see how his foot responds, this evening and tomorrow. I think he's somewhere in the vicinity of could play or could not play. And we'll just see how that goes.
Mark, how do you come down on, like, maybe the doctors have what they say, but if a guy just says, Coach, I want to give it a go, would you say fine, or do you really like, no, like, I can't let you do that because I would feel?
It depends. It depends on the injury. So if, there's injuries that are just a pain tolerance injury where you're going to have a little more latitude, but there's also injuries where you could do significant further damage where sometimes we have to step in and say, hey, it's just not, we're not going to put you out there. So it depends on what the injury is.
It seems like that teams have discovered that if they leave Colin open, bad things are going to happen to him. What does he need to do? What is your next chess move, without giving away specifics of what you need to do in order to make him more impactful on offense?
Yeah, it's a process that everybody goes through. Everybody goes through the process. If you're fortunate, if you play well, you go through the process of moving up the priorities on a scouting report, and it changes everything about your experience. And so there's a learning curve and a learning process about when teams when your gravity increases, which Colin's gravity, he's earned the right to have his gravity increase massively, then it changes the way you find opportunities, how you find opportunities. So you can approach it a lot of different ways. One is incorporating different skills and reads and how you attack actions. Two is schematically trying to come up with different ways to do it. And three is adding to your game where you can punish teams in different ways. So and then fourth is like, it's just the evolution of great shooters, is that you end up getting comfortable taking even harder shots sometimes, right? And so it's a growth process. Everybody goes through it if you earn it. There's not that many people that earn it, but he certainly earned the right to be one of the top guys on the scout, and he's proven that he's a growth mindseted young man that's going to continue to find answers. So he will.
Did you see something happen similar with Kobe last season, and is that maybe part of what led to his kind of mid-range at the end of the season?
Yeah, and Kobe came into our program as the most efficient offensive player in the country, really making threes, but was coming off the bench most of the season at Dayton, and so he was doing it in that role. And he came here and started making shots early, and then there was he probably got to. He put on a show on our very first SEC game last year against Florida, and so he had to work through that and really grew. And by the end of the season, in fact, in our game to go to the Sweet 16 against Illinois, where he was just so devastating from the mid-range and to the rim. That was a season-long process of him growing and understanding how he could reattack the changing coverages that he was seeing. So it's a fun process to go through.
You have a posting for a player development job right now that ends this week. Can you kind of explain what you're thinking?
Yeah, really important position for us. It's a back office position. Somebody that can model for us 24/7. They can do salary cap models. They can do win share models. They can do comparison research in terms of us trying to have some just get as deep into the details of managing this spring's roster construction as we can. It's really important to have somebody that literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is going to be war gaming and modeling over and over and over again. And so we're excited about filling that position. It's going to really help us as a staff collect information.
Are you hoping to have that kind of in place before the portal opens?
I'd like to have it in place today.
Is this something that
I'm not legally allowed to have it in place today because it's got to close. Yeah.
is this position something that you identified like throughout the course of the season that you would like to add to the staff, or something that maybe even last portal season you're like, oh wait, we would like to have someone in this role because it would fill a need?
Yeah, with the changing dynamics, this is not the final piece that we'll add. This is, this is a piece that's going to make a big difference for us in our information gathering and our analysis of data. Like it's going to be massively important for us to make the best educated guesses that we can. And so this is something that we've been playing with, just trying to find the right time and exactly the right description of the job where we could understand exactly the window of what we wanted. I think we're there right now. I think we have some elite level applicants that will fill this little niche position perfectly. So I'm excited to get through the process and get this person in house and have them grind away,
Anything you want to say to the fans who have saved their money, planned their vacations for this week?
Well, listen, again this year, Deb, we had the most the highest in-house attendance of any program in the country, right? 350 some odd thousand people in attendance at our home games. As BBN is incredible. For a season as dramatic as we've had this year, for BBN to keep showing up more than any fan base in the country it's incredible. It's breathtaking. And so I would say bring it. We couldn't be more excited. I hope they're excited, and let's try and go make some history, and we'll do it together. It's this relationship between us and this fan base is extraordinary, and we're really blessed that we all get to do this together and share this together, share the great times and the challenging times, the doubtful times, and the elite championship times. We get to do it all together, and it's pretty special. It's what makes Kentucky. It's the thing that makes Kentucky different than anywhere else in all of sports. And so come on, guys.
Come on, guys, says Pope. So it's pretty obvious he doesn't want a general manager. I don't give a rat's about the title. Jimmy, my first thought is because it's not a general manager, that whoever fills this player development role will make less money than a general manager because the title's different. I don't know that for sure. But we've all seen, right, when you get a different title, different things happen. And he needs somebody, and he wants somebody. And he says he's got all these candidates. Okay, he's got to pull the trigger. So I'm good with that. Quick note before we go to the break. I don't know if you guys have been watching the WBC, and I haven't been talking about it. It's unfreaking believable. The crowds, the intensity, it's unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. There are some players that are saying it's more intense than playing for the World Series. And by the way, Bobby Witt, I saw him make 2 plays last night, as good as it's going to get all year. And the second one was spectacular. The first one, it's one of the better plays I've seen of shortstop in like the last year or two. You're nodding your head, yes, Jimmy, because you were watching too.
Yeah, that, and props to Bryce Harper. He had a stretch on, I don't remember if it was the first or second one, but hell of a play by him. Not bad for a guy who can't play first base, I believe is what he was told earlier in his career.
He's really turned into a nice first baseman. This is terrible. But when he did that stretch and I was watching, you know what I thought? I hope he doesn't turn into a soprano.
Yeah, I think everyone went, ooh, oh.
I grimace. Okay, we have to move on because of time, because Jonathan Davis will be joining us at 1 o'clock. Stein had a press conference as spring football is here. Here's your new football coach for Kentucky, Will Stein.
First day in the books, a lot of really good work out there. A lot of opportunities for all of our players. A lot of our coaches did a really nice job with the transitions in between periods. Players were responsive to coaching, and like I mentioned, we got a lot of work done. So good first day.
Logistically, just how different does your practice look versus the guys who are back what they're used to, or other schools? Just how different is it?
I'm not sure exactly what was done prior. I just know we have a certain standard that we've built here. It is similar to what I just, experienced with Dan, but, put my own spin on it where I see fit based on player workload, based on depth. So there's still a lot of moving parts. But yeah, I do like to think we practice differently than maybe the years past.
spring is obviously different than fall. Are you all still doing like an install this week? How do you build through it, or is it mostly fundamental?
No, we install something every day, right? We're like a whole mentality. I mean, we're going to throw a lot of stuff on the wall, see what sticks, especially schematically, learning our team in this setting different than learning them in a walkthrough setting in winter. So, yeah, we install every day. We'll have a new one tomorrow and have about 15 installs over the 15 practices. Now, how many plays or schemes that is, really, it's not like every day has 15 new plays. It might be 2 or 3 here or there.
Well, there's a stars coach for you. Can you just, I know defense, it's Jay's sort of call, but what is the stars position?
It's just another word for nickel. Yeah, it's just a nickel Sam star. People call it a lot of different things. It's what we call it. So that's all it is.
Seems like every defense wants to be multiple now, but just schematically, what do you guys want to look like? Are you 3-4? Are you 4-3? What is that?
We are very multiple. You know, I think Jay's past, you've seen 4 down, 3 down, bear fronts, a lot of different versatility on third downs. But yeah, I would definitely say we're multiple.
Well, Tavian Gatson, Humphrey Grace coming back, how important was it for you all to get them back, and what have you seen from them?
Yeah, really good young players. Or not young players, right? Veterans that have been here. But yeah, those guys were vital to our success moving forward. I mean, you have to be able to win the trenches. Those are big bodies that have played at this level in this league and have a lot of pride in Kentucky. So excited to have them.
Usually spring practice is more about evaluation rather than results, but were there any results that you actually have to see at the end of these practices?
You know, I just want to see great strain, great commitment, connection within our team. You know, we're not trying to reinvent football during spring ball. It really is fundamentals and technique. And can we run our base install really well and do it so well that we can't get it wrong during a high stress level on Saturdays?
How healthy is your roster right
now? Just like anything, man. Like everybody across the country, I think, is dealing with nagging injuries from last season. But I would say we're as healthy as we can be going into spring.
When you mentioned their spin that you like to put on the program, is there a particular imprint that you want people to say, hey, this is Will Stone football is first?
Yeah, I think I've mentioned it. Just playing with an edge, playing with a confidence that, is, resembles me. I mean, I was never the biggest player, but I always play with an edge, a chip on my shoulder. And that's what I want our players to embody is the spirit of me, but also, play smart, tough, dependable football.
Obviously, somebody has to run out there first, second, third, but how do you approach a depth chart in the spring?
We don't have depth chart. We have a blue and a white squad that's intertwined. There's not a 1s, 2s, 3s at all. So that's really, to me, the big part of development. Everybody says you want to be developed. Well, how do you do it? Like, don't have a depth chart. See what Lance Hurd looks like to maybe a rotational guard or a guy that was a walk-on. Like, see who can play. So Kenny Minchie doesn't have a starting offensive line out front of him. We have truly a blue team and a white team that will be different each week.
How do you decide who's on?
We just mix it up. Yeah, we mix it up.
What are the benefits of that approach?
Development. You get to see who can actually go compete and who can make plays without maybe a starting lineup in front of them. I've seen a lot of that, especially from the quarterback position, who moves the football down the field, regardless of what's going on up front. And in football, you're going to play multiple guys throughout a season. So the last thing I want is week 6 of the season, and we got to have a new person at a position that's never done it before. So we intermix the groups. We intermix people in different positions. X receiver might play Z receiver for a day. A left guard might play right guard for a day. So you want to have position flex within your team, and that's why we do it.
There are quite a few guys who showed a lot of potential as recruits and maybe have redshirted, on both sides of the line of scrimmage, from linebackers, receivers. What's something that they can show during spring practice that, the lights starting to come on and they can be ready for Saturdays?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I think, can they get lined up? Number one, you're in a new scheme. So everybody's kind of at square one right now, or base camp. So it's, it's important that they can get lined up, hear the call, and then just go execute the call. Once they learn that and understand it, next thing you know, you're going to see them, I think, popping off on tape and playing really fast.
What were the conversations with Hardley Gilmore to where he's back here now after?
Yeah, we had an opportunity to bring him back, which was really exciting for us. So, there's never ill will. You can't have any ill will when stuff happens in college football. There's too many moving parts. So we had an opportunity to bring him back and was really excited to do it.
don't think we've asked you since Mitch's announcement last week. Did that take you by surprise? Just what did those conversations?
Yeah, I mean, I think it took a lot of people by surprise, but like I told Mitch, like his career is, I would say legendary for University of Kentucky. He's here for that long. Anybody that's here for that long is doing something right. He's got 6 national championships to his name, countless All-Americans, all SEC. So, he's a legendary person here, and I'm just really happy for him. He's moving on to a new chapter in his life. So I think we all just got to support that. And like I told him too, when I left Oregon, what happened? The show rolled on. They hired Drew Manager. They're still playing football there. Here, Mitch, his show's rolling on, a new opportunity. We're still going to be playing football and basketball and women's tennis and everything. So it's the circle of life. So let's not get too hung up on it and just be excited and be excited about Kentucky football.
Did he talk to you about that in the interview process at all?
No, but I mean, you just roll with the punches, man. I'm a football coach. This is a sudden change, and shoot, we just got to sack TFL on defense, and our offense is back on the field and on the plus 45, and we're ready to take a shot and score a touchdown. So that's all I'm worried about.
Will, with a new roster, a lot of new faces on day one of spring, do you look for voices to emerge out there to kind of meet the pack, or does that have to kind of slowly develop?
I think it's both. I mean, I don't think there's a great cookie cutter answer that I can give you. We had 8 weeks of strength and conditioning and like hard core running and agility drills and some combative drills. That's when I think you see guys initially find their voice. But yeah, I think throughout practice today, I mean, that's why I practiced the practice yesterday, to try to alleviate any anxiety for our players and let them go out there today and play. So there's a little bit of not survival mode, but like guys are just trying to like get lined up, and it's different. Football energy when you're practicing is different than like a walkthrough, just because like everything's heightened. You're going even faster and harder than you were before. So I think the voices will emerge as we get rolling. But today, yeah, I mean, I saw some guys making plays and being energetic and passionate.
How exciting, or maybe I should say challenging, is it for you to not just have to worry about the offensive side of the ball?
I'm worried about every phase, making sure everybody's going the right direction, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. It's fun to interact with both sides of the ball the way that I am now, special teams. This is why you do it, and you get to have an imprint on every single kid in your program and every coach. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
You mentioned the constant change in the sport. That's something you roll with. In your staffs that you've been a part of, have you witnessed methods that work for building chemistry, or is that something that starts at the recruitment and the portal process?
With the staffs or the players? Players. Yeah, I mean, like connections are number one DNA trait. So we've done multiple different events with our guys so far. We do Wednesday night get reels where guys are coming up here in small groups and we're talking about purpose, why, telling their story, talking about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. So we have a curriculum there to really build that chemistry within the team. We stress eating with different players at lunch or dinner. And yeah, now it's like them getting out on the grass together and experiencing this type of connection. So it's definitely something that you think about and you want to make sure you're hitting every single day, some sort of connection piece. I think we've done a pretty good job so far with it.
A couple more. How much will you scrimmage in spring?
I mean, traditionally you have the first Saturday. So once we get off spring break, will be a normal practice with some more competitive drills, maybe good on good. And then traditionally you have 2 scrimmages and then a spring game. So we'll look and see. I mean, I have 2 plus a spring game allotted right now, but just like anything, like you're always looking at, all right, what happened the first practice? How do we grow from the second one? How do we tweak what we originally had planned based on player workload, based on what we actually need to get done? So to answer your question, like 3 is on the docket, but that could change.
Numbers wise, you feel like you have the volume of players available to execute that?
I would say so far, yes, but again, I'm going to look at today's practice. When we did 2 spot opportunities, how does that need to look the next practice based on availability of players?
Why did you want to have a spring game? I mean, with the stadium, it would have been easy to just say, we're not doing that this year. Well, why was that important?
Because like we don't have the first opportunity is going to be September 5th. Like I don't want our guys to go in there and have their first opportunity with crowd, with the PA announcer, all that stuff against Youngstown State. So, I think it's what BBN deserves, man. Let's go out and show the people like what we've been working on, and it's not going to be perfect, and it'll be very vanilla, but I just want to see if our guys can go execute and come out of that game relatively clean. But it'll be a modified deal. We'll have some live tackle early and then just go to a thud scenario. And I'll give you all the rules and how we're going to do it as we get closer to that date. But yeah, I think our fans deserve it and our players are going to have a lot of fun.
I think he said the word fun in 2 sentences 4 times. I think that says it all. Now, he says he has a chip on his shoulder. I'm not backing down, and I say this is positive. He's cocky. He's cocky. They need cocky. He's cocky. It's really good. Good stuff from the new football coach of Kentucky. Quick note, TJ Walker, who does Big X Radio in Louisville, put this up as another Pope whiff. How about this, Jimmy? Breaking. Top 5 senior Caleb Holt is committed to Arizona. Holt becomes Tommy Lloyd's highest-ranked recruit since taking over in Tucson. Holt developed a strong relationship with Lloyd on the USA basketball under-19 team last year. Wasn't Pope out there? Yeah. So another one bites the dust. Look, Cal got turned down by a lot of people too. Don't kid yourself. But Pope is getting turned down by too many people. It's pretty simple. There's nothing to back down from. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be nasty. It's called Just the Facts. Just the facts. It's pretty simple. Just the facts. I can tell you, Blue Lotus Help. Blue Lotus Help will help you. He's helped me. Ramon Carriega, now also providing a licensed massage therapist. Acupuncture, Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914, 859-533-0914, acupuncture. I was there yesterday. There were 24 needles in me. Can you picture me with 24 needles in me, Jimmy?
No.
Well, and I meditate through it. And it's a wonderful experience. It really is. It's helping me tremendously. I invite you to try it for yourself. When you call, get an appointment, please use my name. It helps me. It helps Ramon. But the most important thing is you get help. Ramon Carriega, Acupuncture, Blue Lotus Health, 859-533-0914. Mr. Shy, Jonathan Davis, coming up next. You think he likes that name? What do you think?
Mr. Shy?
Yeah, he's probably laughing at me now. Jonathan Davis coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellsForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313, 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrell Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrell Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth, and we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
March is here, and Clark's Pub and Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig lunch meat, 5 for $5, and Jolly Rancher, Shackalicious, or Twizzler peg bags, 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pub and Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
W223CV Lexington. ESPN Sports Radio 1392.5. WLXG Lexington. And LM Communications Broadcasting Station. the only no-filter sports show in Kentucky. It's the Alan Cutler Show with award-winning TV sportscaster Alan Cutler.
Sometimes when you pass the ball to each other, sometimes I don't know some guys maybe don't touch the ball for 2-3 minutes, and they just need to be mature, not be childish, to know that the game will come to them, and not just go force it, because it usually ends with a turnover and block shots, and that's what the opponent wants. And I think we'll understand that and bring a good result in the NCAA tournament and SEC tournament.
Welcome back. Yelovich with his comment about childish. And without further ado, unless he really doesn't like it, I'm calling him Mr. Shy, because I really have to draw it out of him to say anything. And thank goodness you fixed your camera. Jonathan, I don't know if you had a tight shot that was almost just your eyes. And if I did that to anybody on a TV camera, people have been screaming, because my nose would have taken up the entire thing. So I'm glad you fixed your shot. For a second, I looked down and I went, whoa, Jonathan. So are you okay with Mr. Shy, or would you rather?
You know what? I can live with that. I've been called worse, Alan. Even by you, I've been called worse. So we'll go with that.
And vice versa. Or you know what the line I use? You've been called worse by better than me. So
There you go. I like it. I like it.
Okay. So a former forward/center for Pitino back in the day, and I have a Pitino soundbite I want to play for you later. But let's start with this: childish. Jonathan, help me out. It's freaking March. We're talking about fatigue. We're talking about childish. Oh my gosh.
Alan, I thought we were past this. I know we had some issues in the beginning of the season. Obviously, you got a bunch of new guys come in. They've got to gel. They got to figure each other out, and everybody wants to be the guy. That's expected the first, third of the season. But here we are, like you said, going to play in the SEC tournament, tomorrow, and we still have a disjointed team to the respect of guys not on the same page. That concerns me. I'm very concerned about that, because it spilled over into to where everybody knows it. Because every team, no matter how great a team is, over the course of the season, even some of your favorite teams, there were ebbs and flows behind the scenes that were not reflected in the win-loss column. You can win and hate each other. You can win, and not speak to each other, not be friends. And the name of the game here is winning ball games. We obviously we would love for these guys to all be lovey-dovey and kumbaya, but at the end of the day, we need them to win basketball games. When this clock strikes 0-0, Kentucky needs to have more points than the other team, and we're not doing that right now. And I'm very concerned about our direction right now.
Childish. Jonathan, I was doing this before you knew you were playing for Kentucky, before you turned down Georgia to come to Kentucky. And I've never heard a player use the word childish when talking about any team, and it's March. This is not funny.
It's not funny at all.
Win. This is disgusting. It's disgusting. So some people won't like this, and I don't give a rat's. What would Pitino do if he found out a player said that other players are being childish because they're not getting the ball for X number of minutes? What would Rick Pitino do?
First of all, going back to when I played for Pitino, it was a different time, and he was very much on top of us when it came to what we did and what we said. And first of all, never would have gotten that far. There were times behind the scenes privately where, player A might have thought player B was childish, but you never would have had player A say that in public. It never spilled over into the public discourse. There are lots of things behind the scenes that were happening, but they were not reflected in the win-loss column as well. You couldn't see what was happening on the court as a reflection of what the team's makeup was behind the scenes. They were two totally separate things. And right now, today, every uncomfortable conversation, every untoward glance, every time a player's looked off when I should have gotten the ball, I didn't get the ball, he's holding the ball too long. All those things, all that theater is being played out in front of God and everybody, and it stinks. It really does. It's horrible. It's not the way it was done in the past. So to answer your question, Pitino never lets us get this far. I don't know what Mark can do to rein this back in. Again, we're in a different age. Pitino could literally threaten us with our lives. and we would have to, accept that as the gospel. Can't do that with kids today. I mean, the world's changed to the respect of the way that we were coached and the way that Mark is constrained and has the ability to coach. They're not the same at all. They're not the same. But having said that, there has to be a way to manage this heretofore to be successful. We haven't figured out what that formula is yet. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know at this point. I have no idea.
There's all this talk about how Patino's gotten softer and stuff like that. And I believe
he has.
But I just read an article, I think in the New York Post, Darling, his little point guard. Steve Serby did a long piece with him, and he had some funny stories about how Patino is just nuts still now. 73, still nuts like crazy. So maybe he's mellowed, and I think he has.
There's some things you can't do now, Alan. I mean, some things that you literally can't do today that you could do to kids back then. There's no way. He would go to jail.
So
Any coach goes to jail.
So what was done to you or your teammates that you can't do today that did happen?
Just the psychological torture of it all. I mean, the way that it was, like I say, we weren't physically hit or beaten or anything like that, but the psychological torture of, just not knowing from moment to moment to hour, what your fate was going to be. You just can't treat people like that anymore. You can't. You have to be much more direct. They have to have a much more clear vision of what's going on today. And that wasn't always the case. Your coach held your life in your hands. He held your life in his hands. And that is not the case today, especially with added into that, kids now were able to, be paid to play. And back then, I mean, you didn't know if you're going to be able to eat if you didn't do what you had to do on Thursday at the game. Am I going to be able to eat on Saturday? I mean, the coach could threaten you. I'm not saying they would starve you, but they could threaten you with those things like that. You're not going to eat. You're not going to eat. I'm going to send you home. You can't say those things to kids today. You can't say those things. You could say it back then, whether it was true or not. You could talk to a kid like that back then, but you can't today. I'm sending you home. You're not going to eat. I mean, that kind of stuff. You can't do that now.
Was anybody threatened that they wouldn't eat?
Yes. Common. It wasn't unusual. It wasn't weird. It was a different time. A different time.
Wow. I'm going to forward to you after the show the article in the New York paper from Darling.
Sure.
And then we'll have a conversation. Send me a text if you think Patino has mellowed that much. I think he has mellowed, but maybe not as much as some people think. Let's put it that way. All right. I'm going to ask you a very difficult question.
Okay.
I don't care what anybody says. Patino wanted this job again. I've said this before, by the way.
I agree.
Absolutely unequivocally wanted this job again. Mitch not only didn't want Patino, he wouldn't even talk to him. And Mitch, if I'm wrong, you're welcome to come on the show or have one of you people call me up and tell me how I'm wrong. I kind of know something, okay? This is not a shot against Mark Pope. It's really not. It's going to sound like a shot against Mark Pope. It will. I don't mean it that way. I'm also suggesting that, some people would rather have Dusty May than Mark, and Mark might end up winning national championships here. Could. I'm open-minded to that, by the way. But let's see. Rick Pitino goes to St. John's, which was a dog program, used to be one of the great programs, was a dog program. And how many Big East titles has he won in 3 years?
He's hard to rank.
2.
Yeah.
2. And, Father Time always wins. We know Father Time will always win. But could I see him coaching when he's 80? Yep. Jonathan Davis, with no disrespect to Mark Pope. Because I don't mean any disrespect to him. And neither do you, by the way. That's pretty
absolutely not. Good guy.
Did Kentucky and Mitch make another coaching mistake by not bringing back Rick Pitino to coach Kentucky?
I think mistake might be a strong word, but let's look at it through Mitch's perspective, through Mitch's eyes. Here's a guy towards the end of his career, looking to cement his own legacy. He wants to bring in a coach who could be here for a while, could possibly bring us back, not possibly, to definitely bring us back to national prominence, and then most importantly, put his stamp on the program. Bringing back Rick as a retread, even though it's a very successful retread, bringing back Rick, it the shine is not on Mitch at that point. And again, I'm not trying to, lessen, Mitch's abilities to find talent. But I'm just saying, if he brings back Rick, it's more of a no-brainer to the respect of what we expect on the court. Now, off the court, Rick has had some struggles. We all know that, that's all been documented. And I think he wanted Mitch wanted a clean slate to bring in his own guy, bring in somebody that's fresh and not have been a coach here before, and to be able to say, this is the guy that I brought in. I brought this guy in. He's going to get us where we need to get to. That's just my opinion.
Okay, two things here. One, I don't give a crap who it is. Somebody's guy, somebody's not guy, somebody's gal, somebody's not gal. I don't give a crap. You hire the best person. White, black, yellow, green, purple.
That's not how it's done, though, Alan. We're being idealistic. That's just not how it's done.
Well, that's how I feel.
I agree with that's how I see it, too. But I promise you, I'm telling you, that is not how it's done. It's not.
Right, let me try.
People bring in their guy. People bring their guy.
I can't stand that crap.
I can't either, but it's the way of the world. It is the way it's done.
Okay, let's try it this way. You're going to take a salary cut here, and you're the athletics director.
Okay.
Would you have hired Rick Pitino to be coach of Kentucky when Cal left?
That's a tough question. You think it would be cut and dry, like I said, because on the court, everything you want for an on-the-court coach that was looking to come in and quickly get you back in place, get you back in the prominence, says Rick. But in the national eye, in the grand scheme of things, there are issues there. Like I said, I'm not taking Mitch's side on this at all, but I can see where if you were to do the old Ben Franklin T chart, on this side you put all the things that yes, we should do it. On the other side of the T chart, you put all the reasons why no, we should not do it. I can see how it could be a tough choice to make. That scale is not, to me, as cut and dry as you would think it would be. In retrospect, right now, in the midst of a turbulent season when things aren't going well, we can all look back and say, yeah, you know what, we should have brought Rick back. But at the time he made that hire, and again, I'm not a Mitch rah-rah person at all, but at the time he made the hire, I still stand by the hire, and I still think we should give Mark some more time to figure this out. There have been lots of great coaches who, after 2 years of being the head coach, didn't have much more of a record than he did. They've gone on to do great things. So I don't think we should throw in the baby with the bathwater just yet. So long answer to your question, I can't say I would definitely for sure have done that. I can't say that.
Couple things. One, Pope does deserve more time, so that's my opinion. So somebody saying Cutler's trying to get rid of Pope, not true. I own you on this one. This is the second time you've been kind enough to we have fun with the conversations, otherwise you wouldn't do it, obviously, and I have fun talking to you, otherwise I wouldn't ask you. This is only the second time I've ever said to you, I own you, before asking a question. I made you nervous. So I'm trying to see if you're about to sweat in your forehead. Okay. When I say I own you, do people understand this is part of the friendly conversation? It's two guys in a bar having a cup of coffee. Folks, I'm serious. If you're not on YouTube, your forehead is starting to glisten.
You know what, Alan?
It's starting to glisten. It's starting to glisten. Okay. You know what, Alan? What? Because I got you.
You know what? I'll say it for off the air. We'll have another conversation later.
Okay.
Please elucidate your point, please.
Oh, in other words, shut up. Picking on my forehead.
Yeah. So we'll move right along. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Jonathan, tell me move along. It's my show. God bless you, Jonathan. You have a lot of power. By the way, you have to be right. I'm being serious now. So when Gillespie was hired, UK was concerned about off-the-court issues in Cal's past. Everybody knows that. When Cal got hired, they did some homework and made a judgment that wasn't going to be an issue. Hang on. I'm not defending anything Pitino's done off the court. Not for a second. Let everybody understand that. It's part of his life. You can't erase that kind of thing. But you're a smart man. And so how about this? Make a judgment. No problems at Iona. No problem at St. John's. Is that 5 years, whatever the heck it is? And so there are people that deserve another chance. And when they get that, they do a really good job. And when you talk about it, as big as Kentucky basketball is here, the New York media is the damn New York media. And I got to tell you, if Pitino had a scandal, they would fry him unbelievably so. My point is, if you have a conversation and if you're convinced that the issues that you brought up that are all legitimate and fair are in the past, that changes things. And you look somebody in the eye and you make a judgment. Now, Mr. Jonathan Davis, under those pretenses, why wouldn't you have a private conversation? You don't want it out in the media. You don't meet in New York. You meet in Chicago or Boston or in a hotel somewhere. You do it in a sneaky way, just like UK was smart. They did it in a sneaky way. I think Mitch said they had a plane in Evansville waiting for them to go see Cal in Chicago, which is smart, by the way. It's what you got to do. You know, a false name, a hotel. You know, you get a suite. You sit there and all day talk and that kind of stuff. The money's no object. You do what the hell you got to do. The point is, why wouldn't you want to have the conversation? Because one, if you had any inkling that there would be potentially a problem in the future, run away from it. But two, if you thought, you know what, he's older, he doesn't want any of that crap, he just wants to coach basketball, all that stuff is gone, some of the mistakes he made, he won't make again, people do grow and change, wouldn't you want to find that out?
Two-part answer to your question. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that premise. I do. However, you got to keep this in mind too. Most people, when they rise to the level of athletic director at a school like a UK, they have some ego attached to that. And as you and I both know, Rick cast a very large shadow. You bring Rick back here, you are now second banana. And some people can't handle that. Again, not making any judgment calls, not passing any aspersions. I'm just speaking generally. Everybody can't handle having somebody with a personality that strong be your on paper subordinate. But when Rick is here, Rick is king. Rick is the king of Kentucky. There are some coaches that can handle that kind of, mantle or persona. Everybody can't. He wears that, very well. That fits him like a glove. He's the guy when he's in town. And you can't. And once he's in place, you can't rein him in. He'll just gonna do what he's gonna do. The only way you can get rid of a guy like that would be if he made a huge mistake. He's a smart person, so he's made so many mistakes in the past. He's not want to keep making the same mistake over and over. He's very good at changing directions, changing course, and rehabilitated himself like he's done, obviously, at St. John's. But I think that a coach, or I should say an athletic director at a school like this, would be hard-pressed if they're not able to subjugate their own ego and bring back Pitino and let him do his thing, because he's the kind of guy, once you put him in place, you got to step back. He's going to tell you what's going to happen next. You're not his boss. He's going to tell you what's going to happen next.
And you're right. You're not his boss. You're absolutely unequivocally.
Now, and Mitch is a guy who he exerts his authority. He does. He's done a great job. He exerts his authority from where he sits. He does.
And Mitch has said he lets coaches coach.
He says that. That's not what he does. See, here's the thing, Alan, about people and about life. People say one thing, but I'm a big believer in, you can say all the things you want to say. I watch what you do. I study people. I study actions. I study patterns. And that's what I do for a living. That's how I make money. I study what I can anticipate what you're not saying. You could be saying all these different words, but I'm watching you and I'm studying you. I'm studying the market. I'm studying what's going on all around us. And if what you say and what you do don't match up, I focus on what you do, and I forget about what you say. I think that to be successful in a lot of endeavors, that's just the way to go. I'm watching what you do.
If Kentucky had won 2 SEC championships with Pitino back, which, by the way, I think would be possible, wouldn't that negate all that other stuff? Then you get credit for having the guts to bring him back. You see, I don't care if it's Mitch. Let's break away from Mitch for a second. But you're right with so many points, Jonathan. It's bullseye. That there are a lot of people that don't want to bring in somebody when you are no longer the boss. It's a very poignant point. I've said it many times myself, and this hurts. I couldn't agree with you more. To me, the big boy picture is, can we win now? And the other thing was people said, well, he's 73 now, but he's only got a couple of years. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me if he's coaching the same way when he's 78, 79, 80. And let's see, what did Cal say? This is a 10-year job. I don't know if Pitino could have made 10 years. I don't know. You just don't know. But it wouldn't have surprised me. Really, wouldn't have surprised me. Or if he made 5 or 6 great years. Great years. Well, it's not like it's a 1 or 2 year deal. I have always thought that Kentucky made a mistake. And look, if I was AD and I hired Pitino, you can keep the shingle up, which says athletics director, but that means your athletics director if it's over 500 kids, whatever the heck it is, minus about 15.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Everybody's not everything you're saying. I agree 100% what you're saying, Alan. But the thing is, I don't know Mitch well enough to make a psychological evaluation of it, but I can say what I've observed over his tenure here, and that is, I don't believe he would have cottoned very well to having a coach, run a program in a silo to the respect of he tells you what they're going to be doing and you not telling him. That's not how Mitch operates. I don't care what he says. I'm watching how he operates. He is AD and he's over these programs. I mean, the buck stops with him, and nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's done a good job, running his program like that. But bringing in a guy like Pitino, you're not Pitino's boss. I don't see how that would work out.
By the way, St. John's is 13th in the country. They're 25-6, and they beat UConn for the Big East regular season championship.
Nobody argues with the fact that Rick would have done a great job here basketball-wise. I mean, we had him back. We'd be winning immediately. I agree 100%.
Answer this. What would the state of Kentucky, what would all these, by the way, I had no idea I was going to do this. You're not surprised, are you?
No.
But I have the soundbite that I want to play for you in a second. What would the feeling be for Kentucky fans all over the world if Kentucky right now was 25-6 under Rick Pitino? What would the feeling be? How tough would it be to get tickets in Nashville? How tough would it have been to get a ticket at Rupp Arena this year, where there were some empty seats? How crazy would it have been? In other words, if you thought that Pitino might have problems getting off the court, just an inkling, I would run away like crazy. But you're the athletic director, Jonathan Davis, and you make your living based upon judging things, whether anybody likes it or not. That's why they pay you 7 figures a year. If Pope wins a national championship next year or the year after in the next 4 or 5 years, I'm not changing my mind. I thought it was a mistake then. I think it's a mistake now. I'm entitled to my opinion. You're entitled to yours. I would want to look Rick in the eye, and I could see him. He's a very good salesman, as you know. He's a real. He's one of the best salesmen.
Those nice Eskimos.
yeah, he could. I don't know. I just think it was a bad mistake. And anybody out there at UK is mad at what I'm saying, you can go jump in the lake. This is a no-filter talk show with my opinions. I'm not attacking anyone at all.
Here's another component you got to keep in mind to it. I don't know all the players, all their feelings on this, but the big boosters, the guys that write the big checks, there's a split. They weren't, as far as I know, they weren't all 100% on board bringing Rick back either. He had his friends, but he also had folks that didn't want him back. And again, I was not in that meeting. I'm not one of those kind of players, but there's discussions amongst themselves as to whether or not he'd be the right fit. I mean, you got to factor that in as well.
Okay,
if a guy just doesn't like, Coach X for whatever reason, and he's vociferous, he's really adamant, like, I don't want this guy back for whatever reason, that's got to be factored into it. Not that it's an end all be all, but the guys that write the checks, they have a say in what goes on too.
More so than people think. Hang on, we're
way more than people think.
Okay, you just said something that's really important here, and I'm cutting you off on purpose, Jonathan, not to be disrespectful and not for my normal big mouth. Are you saying there were a bunch of boosters who got together without Mitch Barnhart, without anybody at the University of Kentucky officially there, and talked among themselves about who they might end up bringing back?
It's not like an official, cabal or anything.
No.
They talk. But let me reframe your question.
Yes.
Do the guys that write the checks, are they friendly with each other? Do they have communication with each other and talk about things that affect the university outside of official channels? Yeah, they do. They belong to the same clubs. They go to the same places, and they have talks, and they, discuss amongst themselves how we should proceed as a group. Yes.
So how many?
Yes.
How many millions are you short to get in that group?
A lot of millions. And I've got millions, but not those kind of millions. Different kind of millions.
Are you say just tell the are you mad at me? Anything I said pinning you against the
Oh
wall?
no, absolutely not.
Spirited conversation.
Absolutely, I expected it.
I made you think.
You did, and I'll give you a compliment as well. Somebody stopped me yesterday. I was playing golf, and somebody stopped me in the when I was going in to play and said that I know you, I know your voice. They heard me and you banter on the show, so people are hearing us talk, and they are appreciating, I guess, our unfiltered opinions because again, these are our personal opinions. We don't necessarily have the God's honest truth on everything, but our opinions are ones that you can be reasonably assured there's at least a grain of information there. We're not just wildly speculating on something with nothing about. We've got some information that the average fan may not have, and we could take that and extrapolate it out and form an opinion that makes some kind of sense and based in reality. And people appreciate that.
By the way, I'm not predicting St. John's winning a national championship. I don't know who will. I probably won't predict them. I think they have a shot at the Final Four, but I think a lot of teams have a shot at the Final Four. If St. John's wins the national championship, goes to the Final Four, we're going to revisit this and see if you change your mind. And here's the other thing. I know you, Jonathan. You're going to think about this. And I think slowly you're going to come over to my side even more. I can feel it. I can taste it. I'm being Will Stein cocky about this.
I don't think Rick winning the championship this year won't change my mind. Like I said, no one doubts his coaching ability. It's some of the other stuff.
Okay.
That factors into this equation that prevents me from saying, yes, absolutely, unequivocally, he should be our guy.
Last thing,
if he was our guy, would I be mad? No, I wouldn't be mad. No.
Last thing, I'm super late. See, but you are so smart. And I'm being serious, and I'm complimenting you. And this is bullseye serious. You are so smart. I would trust you. I would trust you to make that decision, looking him in the eye. And if you thought that there was no possible cause for any off the field difficulties like he's had in the past, I believe you would change your mind.
Okay.
I would trust you. I'm being serious now. I'm not getting around with you. I would trust you to make that decision. But if you had an inkling, you can't do it. But the last point, here's my point, is you find out, get a feel. It's a ballsy decision. I get that. And if you have any fear, stop, don't do it. But if you don't have any fear, and the guy can give you 5, 7, 8, 9 years of part 2 of Camelot, because these things can't happen, just saying.
Okay.
You take the last shot. You got anything else?
I do not. I'm still trying to chew on Rick being here again. Like I said, and I've talked to lots of people about this, at many different levels. And to be honest with you, Alan, it's more split than what I would have initially thought. There's some folks that really, really want him back. There are also some folks that really do not want him back. And I was surprised by some of the folks who said that I don't want him back. I was very surprised by that. People that really celebrated and were happy when he was here, but they just can't get past his past. They can't get past it.
I can respect that.
Part of it going to Louisville, and part of what happened when he got to Louisville. But a big part of it was just the fact he went to Louisville, our arch rival, and coached there. Even without the scandals, there's some folks that was the line for them. And then he took it a step further with some other things, and he can't. In some people's minds, he can't come back. I'm not going to call anybody names or anything, but that's a fact.
And that's fair, but I'll tell you one last real thing, and I'm sorry for doing the last shot at you, but if you have something, say it back. Those people don't want it back. I respect that, and I'm not surprised with what you're saying. But if he came back, and this was the second SEC championship in a row, this. People change their mind.
If nothing else, they'd be very quiet. They would be very quiet in their, criticisms.
They would be cheering.
They would.
Bless you, brother. Thank you.
You too, man.
I hope I didn't get your blood pressure up too much.
No, I'm doing good. Just a little bit of sweat here, but I got a towel. I'm going to wipe off. So,
see, next time you come on, you can have a towel
drenched in sweat.
Bless you, Jonathan.
You too, man. Take it easy, brother.
Thank you, Mr. Shy.
Yes. See you, man.
See you, man. Terry Page. Terry Page. Not a good, not very good. Great. Do I sound like that Frosted Flakes commercial?
It is a bit Tony the Tigerish, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In a grocery store, somebody came up to me and said, did I love Tony the Tiger as a child? And I paused for a second because I wasn't expecting it. I went, huh? Oh. I love Frosted Flakes, but I wouldn't eat them very often because of the sugar. And then when I was on my own and I had no money, that was like the cereal I would eat because I could afford it and you could last for a whole week. You're making $100 a week, literally, and you're on your own. There was literally $100 a week. You got to be careful what you buy, that kind of stuff. So anyway, neither here nor there. I didn't mean to do it that way, but I feel that she's great. Terry Page, great licensed massage therapist. Terry Page, check her out. 859-373-0578. 859-373-0578. 820 Porter Place, our new office, Suite 3, off of Sales Road. Go to the end of the road. Go to the side of the building. There's an entrance there. Monday and Tuesday in Butler, in Lexington, Thursday and Friday. Check her out. Please use my name. She's special. Terry Page, 859-373-0578. Dr. John Wong, my partner in Cut to the Chase, coming up next. Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM.
No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler, brought to you by Quantrell Auto Group. QuantrellForLife.com.
Hi, this is Alan Cutler. Have a no filter comment? Hit the text line, 859-381-1313. 859-381-1313. Hi, this is Alan Cutler, and I've spent years on these roads, and safety isn't a slogan to me, it's real life. That's one reason I trust Volvo. Quantrell Volvo has been part of this community for years. Brentley and Mark are friends of mine, and they run the dealership the right way with care, integrity, and real respect for the people they serve. If safety, smart design, and peace of mind matter to you, start your search at Quantrell Volvo. We have the XC60, the hybrid. We love it. Best car we've had in 43 years, and it is really smooth, and we're saving money on the gas. Right now, get financing as low as 0.99% APR for 36 months on most 2026 models. Visit QuantrellVolvo.com. See dealer for details.
March is here, and Clark's Pep Shop has the game-winning specials to keep you fueled all month long. Whether you're hitting the road to catch a game or hosting a watch party, we've got unbeatable monthly deals. Stop in and pick up Bud Dig lunch meat, 5 for $5, and Jolly Rancher, Shackalicious, or Twizzler peg bags, 2 for $6. This March, make every stop a winner at Clark's Pep Shop. Return, refresh, refuel.
Back to No Filter Radio with Alan Cutler. Podcasts on Apple, Spotify, and Google, Monday through Friday.
Sometimes when you pass the ball to each other, sometimes I don't know, some guys maybe don't touch the ball for 2-3 minutes, and they just need to be mature, not be childish, to know that the game will come to them, and not just go force it, because it usually ends with a turnover and block shots, and that's what the opponent wants. And I think we'll understand that and bring a good result in the NCAA tournament and SEC tournament.
That bite by Yelovich is powerful. We've played it for a lot of guests. Welcome back, Alan Cutler, 1300 AM, 92.5 FM. Smokey Burgess is joining us now. Do you know who Smokey Burgess is, Dr. John Wong?
I do not, Alan Cutler.
So Zach West, who's never been a guest, was scheduled to be a guest. He texted me this morning, things happen at work, he can't do it, that kind of stuff. And I don't think this has happened to me 5 times in deep into the 4th year. Stuff happens. I'm surprised it hasn't happened more, neither here nor there. So Smokey Burgess was considered the greatest pinch hitter of all time for a long time. And he was a heavy-set man who was a catcher, and he was still pinch hitting when he was 40. And he would hit doubles that he could barely get. I'm not being funny here. He could barely get to first base, and they always had a pinch runner, usually a pitcher, not to use up another regular player. So you are pinch hitting.
I am out of the bullpen. The one thing I did not expect, though, was to follow Jonathan Davis. I don't think you could have 2 more different guests than Jonathan and I. He played the game. I'm what you call a jock sniffer. You made him sweat. There's nothing you can say that could make me sweat on here, Alan Cutler. So give me your best shot.
You really think I made Jonathan sweat?
Yeah, I could see that sweat on his brow, right?
He on top of his forehead. I've done this to him now 3 or 4 times, but I wouldn't throw it at him if he couldn't handle it.
Well, he's very opinionated. I have a tendency to maybe hold back a little bit. So I'm counting on you to draw out the reality in me.
I'm trying to, I don't want you to say anything you don't want to say, but I am trying for you to, and you've really, really come a long way.
Well, I appreciate it.
So, because I remember the first time you rated was like, it's like I was at the dentist, but I was pulling teeth from you instead of you pulling teeth from my son.
Yeah, I resemble that remark. But,
yes. For
yeah,
decades.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay. So, serious now. To hear a player called childish and that kind of thing, it's freaking March. I would be willing to bet that Sports Information probably talked to him about not saying those kinds of things because they, I'm not trying to be nasty, but they really don't want a lot of honest opinions in the media. They have the kids couch it, whether I agree with it or not. That's just the way it is. And so when you hear that, and this is March, that's not a good thing.
No, I didn't like the words coming out of his mouth, but I love the fact that he was willing to say it because, Alan, you know how it is when you go to those interviews. Everything almost appears scripted nowadays. Here, the guys, it's all coach speak, it's all player speak. You never do get anything original. So if this is actually what he's feeling, then that really is super telling about this team. And yes, I'm with you. I don't like what I'm hearing from that aspect. And also, remember, he also made remarks about fatigue. He essentially countered Pope's point that nobody's tired. We're all here. We're all having NBA aspirations. We're all willing to play all those games that the NBA plays. We're not tired at all.
Yeah, I played that soundbite a number of times as well. And it was interesting. He was quiet as he was saying it. No, fatigue is not a problem. We want to play in the NBA, that kind of thing. Fighting through fatigue is part, as far as I'm concerned, of being an athlete. Okay. And there are some people that really can only go so far, and everybody can only go so far. Okay. But Wilt Chamberlain, he had to go baseline to baseline, and people beat the crap out of him, as they did Shaq and big men who were that successful. He averaged 1 year over 48 minutes a game. An NBA game is 48 minutes because he never went off the court. And the overtime, he averaged over 48 minutes. And I think he did it more than once. I think Bill Russell might have done it too. I'm going to have to look that up. That's my memory. So the point is, there are times in a game where you can kind of rest without being lazy. There are times for that. And I'm just baffled that we're talking about freaking fatigue in March. I do
wonder. Yeah, I do wonder if Pope is regretting the emphasis that he himself was the one who started all this. And then, of course, the media and the fans picked up on it. But the reality is that March is here. This is the time during the tournament where the great players, they play a lot of minutes, they push through their fatigue, and they make a name for themselves. So it's poop or get off the pot time, right? Fish or cut bait.
Poop or get off the pot time. That's very good.
Well, it's not original. I've heard that many, many times, but
it
is true. It is time, right?
It is time. It is time. I'm going to reserve judgment on the season till after the season is over, because if I did it today, it wouldn't be very positive. But you know what? Suppose these kids win 2 games in the SEC, which is possible. Okay. And then suppose they get the Sweet 16 in the NCAA, which is possible. Okay. Will I have a different opinion this season? I will, and you will. And so to make a blanket statement right now is, I think, wrong. But by the same token, too, if they lose to LSU and lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament, I ain't going to be very nice, and neither will you. And I can tell you, even if they don't win another game, I will not come out and say fire Mark Pope. I'm not going to do it. I've already decided that, because I think he deserves another year, not because he played here, but because there's too much short stuff. And suppose he brings in a lot of players next year who are really good, and he turns it around, and he's a much better head coach next year than I don't know. But I'm telling you right now, there's nothing. I can't imagine there's anything that can happen over the next, because they're only guaranteed 2 more games. Over the next 2 games that would cause me to say that. What say you, Dr. John?
Yeah, I think he's here for year number 3 regardless, but it will be a telling year. And this upcoming portal season will be very, very telling. I assume that you will not be going down to Nashville. You'll be
No.
sitting on your couch watching the games. I will be down there, and I am super excited to see what the atmosphere is because, as you know, Wednesdays in Nashville, those are usually days that Kentucky fans are making plans to travel in. They're looking to eat hot chicken, they're looking to listen to live music on Broadway. And here they are, the opening act of the Southeastern Conference tournament. I'm not quite sure what the enthusiasm and excitement and attendance will be on something like that. I think that's going to be part of the drama. And if Kentucky can just get a little bit over the hump, get off to a great start, take down LSU like they should, beat Missouri, which at this point is probably a toss up, and get into that quarterfinal game with Florida, I think you'd have to consider it probably as good as you could have hoped for.
I'm going to throw something positive your way. You're going to be shocked.
I consider you a fairly positive person. I don't think you're too negative on too many things.
I'm not, but this how they play causes me to be negative. I always want them to win, but I want you to think about this for a second. Maybe you have. If I don't know who the fifth guy would be, okay, but if I could tell you right now, I want you to, seriously, Dr. John Wong, my partner at Cut to the Chase, and 8 books totally. He's a maven in writing books and doing a wonderful job. But the dink young man who's 6'7", who averages 16 or 17 in the G League, he's only 19. I think they have a great shot of bringing him in next year. Hang on. If Braden Hawthorne, who's coming back, who, according to Ben Roberts, has put on 19 pounds, and I have had people tell me in practice he's very tough to stop, and I said before the season that he should be 205 or 208 next year. Because if you're sitting out, he can lift weights every day. If you're playing basketball on the team, you can't lift that weights every day. And he's eating like crazy, and he's obviously much stronger, and he's always probably going to look thin. Okay, you have him, Moreno, and Cam Williams. Now, I want you to think for a second. Without everybody else being filled out, okay, if that's 4 of the 5 starters for next year, Pope might have a much better start to next season than people are giving him credit for. I have a family member who's watched Dink play, said he's pretty damn good. It's not somebody in the G League who's averaging 2 points a game. Okay, this is like 16 points a game, 16, 17, whatever the heck it is. He's got really good numbers in there, and he's only 19. I think Hawthorne's going to be a player. I think Cam's going to be a player. I think Marino, after another offseason of lifting, I think he improved tremendously strength-wise, and he's got a long way to go, and I think he'll be tons better, and I think his hands will be better. And I'm looking this, and the Potter kid, his parents told me he's gotten much stronger, and really like that he came here for less money leaving Miami, believe it or not. And so I'm going to say with all this trepidation, and I don't know about Noel and that kind of stuff, there's some kids you don't know about, but the point is this: if that's 4 of your 5 starters, that's a pretty damn good start considering what I think most people think.
And you didn't mention anything about Colin Chandler. I think he would be a very, very critical piece. But I guess my question to you is...
Hang on, and that's fair. But let me respond. It's very fair that you brought it. I can't swear to you, but I will be a little surprised. This is just an opinion. If he's here next year, and by the way, I'm not starting something, but use a little common sense. He's married, wants to start a family. Would you rather start your family in Utah when his wife is around her family? So if Chandler comes back, I'm not saying he isn't coming back. I'm saying I don't know. But you got to have rocks in your head for not thinking that's a possibility. So I'll go one step further. If he is on the team, and first of all, you still need a point guard. So you might have a 6-man. No, Dink is a point guard. Excuse me. My bad. But if Chandler's there, that's a pretty damn good starting lineup. Let me ask you something. I want you to think for a second. Is that a better starting lineup than this year?
It depends on how good Dink is. Is he the superstar level player that Kentucky has been pining for, that has been missing since the days of John Calipari? Is he that good? Is he that impactful? Or is he just another good piece of the puzzle? Because I think when it comes down to it, Kentucky needs that superstar level player. That's the difference between them and Duke and Kansas and Michigan right now. They don't have that guy, and they need that guy. I miss that guy.
Okay, and I do too. I'm going to suggest he's a much better player than Lowe. I'm going to suggest that it's never been in my head of him being a superstar. I'm going to suggest he's a really good basketball player. I don't have anything to tell you that he would be a superstar. That would be ludicrous on my part.
Is he better than Aberdeen?
He's better than any point guard that's been on this team this year.
All right, then, yeah, I would agree with you that starting lineup would have more of a chance to excel than Pope's previous ones.
Okay, so now we got about 1 minute left. Now, think about it for a second. That tells you that recruiting, asking a coach to bring in 4 or 5 players, that's not a big deal, or 5 or 6 players in today's world. So maybe Pope, if things fall into place, could be in better shape now for next year than a lot of fans are concerned about. That's all I'm saying.
He's got to show us. The one thing that probably the biggest concern about the state of the University of Kentucky basketball program is this lack of hope that's pervading the fan base, that Pope is missing out on being able to be the closer. He's not able to connect with these people who are coming up today with their particular mindset. And so far, he hasn't shown us that he's been able to do that.
Got 30 seconds. Do they beat LSU and beat Missouri, which I think they'll do both, and get to Florida and lose to Florida on Friday? What say you in 20 seconds?
I think that's probably as good as you can hope for. And if they can do that, I think it actually gives them a little bit of momentum going into the real tournament, especially if they end up playing Florida close.
Yes, and on top of that, that might make who they play in round 1 of the NCAA tournament better for Kentucky and possibly round 2. If they lose tomorrow, then they're going to have fear for the basketball.
Yeah, you don't want them dropping down to that 8 and 9. You need Kentucky to wind up as that 6th seed. That way you play 3 in the next round. There's a chance that you can actually make the second weekend. So that's the prayer. And I think if they win 2, play Florida close, they'll get that 6th seed.
Smokey Burgess, have a great time in Nashville. Appreciate your friendship. Appreciate you being partner and cut to the chase. And thanks for helping out on a dime. You're the best, Doc. Thank you so much.
My arm is always limber for you, Alan.
You're like Satchel Paige. I can pitch every day. Thanks, Doc.
See you. Bye.
Fun show. Okay, so tomorrow, Kentucky plays LSU at 12:30. I'm not doing my show from 12 to 2. Rich Eisen on ESPN does a wonderful show. He will be on from 12 to 2. Brad Taylor, who's coming up next, will be on at 2 o'clock. I'll be on at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then at 4:30, it is
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy.
Wildcat Drive with Matthew and Jimmy. And you'll be on at 4 o'clock today. And I would call that a beautiful, beautiful thing. I know I'm late, but I have to tell you this. It's a personal note for you. Terrence Greer, friend of the show, who many times when I can't think of a name, although you saved me many times, Jimmy, he has also saved me many times. Personal message for you. By the way, Cisco Bryant said to say hi to you too in a text message during the show. Wanted to know if you had your little girl yet or not. And he said, just text me back one word. I know you're on the show. The answer was no, but he sends his regards to Terrence Greer. I'm just going to read it word for word. Congrats to Jimmy and his wife on the upcoming little girl. His wife was my middle child's youngest daughter, first teacher. Kindergarten, which I know we've talked about before. Yeah. Kindergarten during COVID was tough, and she absolutely, talking about Jimmy's wife, rocked it for her students. Outstanding educator. And I got to tell you, I've never met your wife. At least I don't think I have. Yeah, but I got to tell you, the pride I had for you and your wife seeing this note, I thought it was an absolute beautiful thing. So mazel tov, good luck. In a one way, I hope I don't see you tomorrow. If it's better for your wife to have the baby tomorrow, and if not, let nature take your course. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. You're going to have a beautiful baby, whether it's tomorrow or Saturday, whatever. So God bless and thanks for everything you do.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And Terrence and Cisco, thank you for the kind words.
Brad Taylor coming up next. I'm Alan Cutler. Third